Hi everyone. Let us start the IIFT exam strategy session now. So ideally we were to have this session in evening, but since most of you are in office and you have already shared your queries on IIFT exam. So I thought that probably I'll record this session and provide it to all of you. So when it comes to IIFT, the first requirement which we are going to have is I am not looking at just clearing the exam, just clearing the cutoff. No, my aim is to get a very high written score, because in IIFT the written exam score has a weightage ranging from 60 to 65% for the final convert. So if I have a high score, even with an average PI and a GDE, I can still convert my score. There are people in past who despite weak academic score have been able to convert the IIFT call letter ease because they had a 52 to 55 marks range. So if you are in that particular slot of marks in the written exam, irrespective of your profile, irrespective of missing out at few answers in your PI, you can still expect a IIFT convert. And here I am not talking about the convert for IIFT Kolkata, but I am talking about a convert for IIFT Delhi, assuming you have put up the Delhi campus at a higher preference. Now, the first question which comes into your mind is, what is the IIFT pattern? And what will be the categorization of sections? Is there going to be a sectional cutoff, or how it is going to be? So, to start off with, remember that IIFT exam is going to be of 100 marks. There is going to be a differential marking. What do I mean by differential marking? It means that questions in a particular section will have a certain weightage and it might not be the same as the question in another section. For example, you may have quant questions of 1 mark each. You may have LR questions of 1 to 1.25 marks. RC questions of 1 mark. The usual verbal to be 0.75 to 1. Then GK from 0.5 to 0.75. This could be the average breakup of the marks in a particular section. DI will also come into 0.75 to 1 mark. Now, before we proceed ahead, it is very important for us to understand that how does IIFT form the sections. Now, first of all, remember this thing, that the sections in IIFT, they are not as per a set pattern. IIFT keeps on varying them. So, 1 year you may have DI plus QA, the other year you can have DI plus LR, you can have VA plus RC, you can have VA separate and RC separate. The only certainty is GK is always going to be a separate section. Rest, verbal and RC, they could be combined or could be separate. DI, QA and LR could come in multiple formats. It could be a QA1, it could be a QA plus DI, it could be LR plus DI, it could be LR separate. So these are the multiple combinations in which the IIFT keeps on giving the paper. Now suppose if there is a section with two subsections, for example if QA and DI are combined, you will have QA and DI as subsections within the section. If you have LR and DI combined, you have LR and DI as subsections of that particular section. So if I will say section 2 LR plus DI, you will have section 2 part A as LR, section 2 part 2 as DI. Also, as per the past trends, there could be a sectional cutoff, there could not be a sectional cutoff. For example, you need to read the instructions in the exam carefully to understand that whether there is a sectional cutoff or there is a no sectional cutoff. If a line is mentioned in the instructions about performing equally well in all the sections, remember that reflects that there is going to be a sectional cutoff. If the instructions do not talk about performing equally well in all the sections, you can assume that there is going to be no sectional cutoff. However, to be on the safest side, when you are preparing for next 2 months for IIFT, you assume that there is going to be a sectional cutoff and you prepare accordingly so that you can do accordingly well in all the sections. In terms of attempts, to be able to clear the sectional cutoffs are very low. So for example, if I talk about QA, the cutoffs have been pretty low. So if QA is of 22 marks, the cutoffs will be in the range of 3.2 to 3.8. So if you will see, this will transform to 14 to 15%. Similarly, when we talk about other sections, for example, if I talk about say VA plus RC, and it is say around 30 marks in total, you will have cutoff in the range of 5.5 to 6.5 marks. Cutoff is slightly high when it comes to LR, where out of 20 you may have cutoff in the range of 5.5 to 6 marks. Reason being, LR in IIFT is pretty easy. DI cutoffs are again very low. Out of say 12 marks, the cutoff could be just 2 marks. Similarly, it goes with GK, where if GK is of say 14 marks, cutoff could be just 2.25 to 2.5 marks. But see, in GK the questions are of just half a mark, so you need at least 5 to 6 net correct questions out of say 28. So this is a broad breakup. So if you will see, if I have to summarize it for you in terms of the percentage marks that you should be targeting, you can say for QA your target should be say 18% to be on the safest side. LR, go for 25%. VA plus RC, go for 20%. DI, go for 15%. GK, go for 15%. Sectional cutoffs will never exceed this. So if you are in this range in these sections, rest assured that you are surely going to clear the sectional cutoff of each and every section in the IIFT paper. Coming to overall cutoffs. Now we know that IIFT has category wise cutoffs. So one would be general, one would be OBC, one would be SC/ST. SC/ST, they have a similar cutoff. For general, the overall cutoff will vary in the range of 38 to 43 marks. For OBC, it is going to vary between 33 to 37. And for SC/ST, it's going to vary between 27 to 32. However, if supposedly the paper comes very easy, you can have this as high as 44 marks. You can have this as high as 39 marks. You can have this as high as 33 marks. But the overall cutoff will never exceed these values. So, just to clear the cutoff, in general category, 45% should be your minimum target. But I am not talking about clearing just the overall cutoff, because I know that my written exam score weightage is 60 to 65%, and hence I want all of you to target 55 to 60% overall marks. This should be your target in a general category to be assured that you have a very strong chance for a final convert. Remember, we are not taking any exam just to get a GDPI call. We are taking the exam to convert the call. And if I know that there is a certain college, there is a certain exam which has a high written exam score, which can surpass my past academics, which can surpass my average PI, which can surpass my average GD, I will try my best to score as high as possible in that particular exam, and IIFT is one such exam. And hence, my target score overall in a general category should be 55 to 60%. If I am at 60%, trust me, you need to do something really big as a blunder to not get selected for IIFT. I hope this much is clear to all of you so far. So we have talked about ideal attempts, we have talked about the target score. Now let us deep dive into the sections. Let us say, begin with the quantitative aptitude part. First of all, remember that at Quant and LR, these are the two easiest sections in IIFT paper along with verbal. However, the Quant questions, they will be slightly calculation intensive. So, when you are preparing for CAT, which apparently is allowing you to use calculator while you are taking IIFT mocks, or while you are, say, solving topics which are equally important for an exam like IIFT, try to avoid the use of calculator and try to do the calculations yourself, because that is not going to help you only for IIFT but for every other exam which you take, because apart from CAT, no other exam is going to provide you calculator, and mostly these exams, they are going to have calculation intensive questions. So it becomes very important for you to be fast at calculating, fast at solving, and that is where try to avoid the use of calculator as much as you can, so that when you are taking an exam like IIFT, you do not face any issues as such. However, let us check out the most important topics in the Quant section for IIFT exam. The highest weightage in the section is of arithmetic, followed by geometry, followed by stuff like trigonometry, mensuration, then your algebra. In algebra, majorly I am talking about two aspects, functions and graphs. And then lastly, numbers. So these are the 5 broad important topics in terms of weightage wise. When it comes to IIFT, you will have 8 to 9 questions coming solely from arithmetic. You will have 4 to 5 questions coming from trigonometry. You will have 4 to 5 questions coming from geometry. You will have 3 to 4 questions coming from trigonometry and mensuration. You will have 3 to 4 questions coming from functions and graphs, and you will have 2 to 3 questions coming from numbers on an average. So that makes arithmetic and geometry the most important topics from IIFT exam perspective. Now the overlap with CAT, because if you will see, geometry is apparently the most highest weighted topic even in CAT over the years. So geometry holds the key as a topic, and it is very important for you to be good at geometry. Just in case some of you are facing challenges in geometry, feel free to send me a mail at varun@careeranna.com, and I will be happy to help you out with geometry, that how you can improve it. But remember, geometry is a very important topic. Now furthermore important, because not only it has the highest weightage in CAT, but it also has the second highest weightage in IIFT. And we have already talked about ideal attempts. To clear the cutoff, 18%, to be among the top scorers in the section, 25 to 30%. So I'll just wait for a minute for you to digest all these things, and to digest the fact that geometry is a very important topic. And if you ask me what within geometry, circles. Circles will form the most important topic within the geometry. So I'll just take a pause so that you can just digest all these things. Coming to DI, remember one thing, no approximations work in IIFT because the options are very, very close. Second, very, very easy caselets, tables, bar graphs, line graphs. These will form the most important component of IIFT DI. Very, very rare question on Venn diagram or a pie chart. Usually it would be bar graphs, line graphs, tables, but very, very calculation intensive, very, very close options. Options could be like 3.62, 3.65, 3.67, 3.74, so that you cannot use the approximation technique to solve a DI question, which again makes IIFT DI different from a CAT DI where you can use approximations. And hence it is very important for you, while you are solving IIFT mocks, while you are solving anything particular to IIFT, try to be very quick in calculations. Try to see, try to visualize the options, that if the options have say 3.6 till the first decimal place in all the options, while you are making the calculations, assume it to be 3.6 first, and then see can you get a second decimal place number correctly. That will save your time in calculation. But yes, DI at a high level, if you will judge it from the difficulty level of the question, it is going to be very simple. The toughness in IIFT DI comes when it comes to calculating part, because the options make you calculate till the second decimal place, which makes it a very tough task. However, we will also be taking one session dedicated to IIFT DI in coming days, so that you can understand how you can use certain tricks for IIFT DI. However, at a broad level, this is the scenario for DI section. So those people who think that IIFT DI is tough, please do not think that IIFT DI is tough. It is time consuming, and hence you should keep a good amount of time in your overall time for DI section, because questions here are going to take time. Moving to LR. Very easy LR, very easy LR. Questions on seating arrangement. Your level 1 questions, level 2 questions of any LR book. Seating arrangement, both linear and circular. Selections. Distribution. Puzzles. Then your family tree. This broadly forms the IIFT LR section. These are the topics with the highest weightage. So if you will see, the difficulty level is very easy. If I put say CAT LR, because of those logical DI and awkward DI caselets at 9 out of 10 on a difficulty level scale, I will put IIFT LR at just 4. So this is a variation. That is where LR will be your one of the sections to maximize your score if you are decently strong with LR. In case you are not strong with LR, feel free to reach out to me and I would suggest you something to help you improve your LR. But do note that LR is one of the areas which can help you to maximize your score in IIFT exam. Reason being, Quant is calculation intensive, DI is calculation intensive, so where can I maximize my marks without spending a lot of time? So LR is one of those sections in the exam which can be used to maximize your score and not spend a lot of time on the per question basis. Coming to VA plus RC part. RC certainly has the highest weightage. You will have 10 to 12 questions on RCs. Very long RCs, very long RCs. On an average, I'll say 1000 to 1200 words. This is the minimum. But very easy. How to solve them? The beauty of IIFT RC is, if you will analyze a past paper says, there are usually no inference based questions. Out of 10 to 12, I will just say have 1 or 2 questions which are inference based. So I can skip those questions. There is no need for me to attempt those questions. I am going to target non-inference based questions which I can very easily solve without reading a lengthy passage by just first reading the question, going back to the passage, finding the answer, come back and mark the answer. That is how I will solve a IIFT RC. I am not going to read the full RC because I will not get questions around title, tone, or all these things. Even if they are there, just 1 or 2 out of 12. So I am going to target remaining 10 questions so that without spending a lot of time, I can fetch solid 8 to 10 marks. And if you can read the question first, go back to the passage, find the answer and mark it, you are not going to make any mistake. Because usually we make mistakes in inference based questions where tone is asked, title is asked, etc. So I am avoiding that part. So basically by spending say 12 to 14 minutes, I can fetch good 10 marks in the RC part, which means a lot when it comes to an exam like IIFT, which is having a cutoff at just 38 to 40%. And hence, do not leave RCs. The mistake which a lot of aspirants do is they get afraid by the length of the RC and they don't attempt it. When you do that, you are missing out at a good lot of easy questions, which you should not be doing, because these are very critical 8 to 10 marks, and I need them to reach my target of 55 marks to have a high overall score. So please attempt RCs. Please do not be afraid by the length of the RCs. Please first read the question and then find its answer when it comes to IIFT RC. The verbal part is going to be very easy. It is going to contain the usual suspect topics like sentence correction, your para jumbles, few questions around the vocabulary part. Vocabulary could be in the form of fill in the blanks or antonyms, synonyms, but usually in the form of fill in the blanks. Word usage questions. So basically, and that particular aspect is very easy. The only point is because weightage there also reduces, because a verbal ability question will just have a 0.5 to 0.75 weightage against a 1 mark weightage for a RC question. So that makes it more important to get my RC thing done correct, because even if I do VA more, I may not be able to fetch that many marks what I can do by just getting 8 to 10 questions correct in RC. So while VA is important, RC is more important. Also, with the current weightage of RC in the CAT exam, you should be focusing very strongly on the preparation of RCs. And once again, if you are facing challenges in RC, please feel free to shoot me a mail and I will like to help you. So this is the overall level of the VA plus RC. The level of questions of sentence correction, para jumbles, word usage, etc. is going to be, say, just 70 to 80% of what you get in a CAT exam. But when it comes to RC, it's a very different kind of a story, because usually in CAT you will have short passages and more of inference based questions. In IIFT you will have lengthy passages and more direct questions. The only thing is, can you overcome the fear of a lengthy passage, and which I strongly suggest you to overcome while you are taking IIFT mocks with us. The reason we are providing you 15 mocks is that you get a sufficient practice to overcome that fear. And that is where, while everyone else just says solve 2 or 3 mocks for IIFT, we recommend to solve 15 mocks, because 15 mocks is the ideal number to help you overcome all the fears, to help you formulate the right strategy for you to target a score of 55 to 60 marks in the actual exam. So we'll take a pause and probably you can just have a look. Coming to the next section, which I am sure that most of you wanted to discuss. GK plus GA. That is nothing but general knowledge, general awareness. 26 to 28 questions in the section. A separate section, 0.5 marks each. So you have the potential to get 13 to 14 marks here. And a GK question, either you know or either you don't know. So if I see, I can target these 13 to 14 marks in just 7 minutes. If you ask me time distribution, I will say I am going to just give 7 to 8 minutes to a GK section. Max to max 10 minutes. Attempt as much as you can. This is the section with the highest ROI if you ask me. ROI not only on the basis of marks, but on the basis of marks per minute. What I can fetch in this section in 5 minutes, I cannot fetch that many marks in any other section in 5 minutes, because of lengthy RCs, because of calculation intensive quant, because of close options in DI, because of LR caselets which need some time to solve. But this is a section which allows me to get good 7 to 10 marks if I have studied GK properly in just 5 to 7 minutes. That is a big bonus, and that is where you cannot ignore the importance of GK and GA, irrespective of the fact that there is a sectional cutoff or not. There has been no one, whom I know at least, who has fetched 60 marks without attempting GK or without getting at least 6 to 7 marks in GK. It is very important. It thus becomes very important because whatever you fetch here, you fetch in almost no time. And that is where the criticality of GK is most important. Most of you have been asking how to prepare for it. There is no need to worry, because if you are watching this video, I am pretty sure that you are the part of the IIFT GK course at least. And you just need to go through all the ebooks which we have provided you. You need to solve all the tests which we have provided you. And trust me, over the last 2 years, the year which had 28 questions, we had 23 questions out of them from our GK material and tests. The year it had 26, we had 21 questions. So, if you have studied our GK material well, if you have studied our tests very well, GK section of IIFT, trust me, is going to be a cakewalk for you. And we also cater to that special type of GK questions which you get in IIFT, because if you would have analyzed the paper, there are at least 5 to 6 out of 26 questions which will be in the form of match the following. So we do take care of those kind of questions also, because they need a different kind of a strategy to solve. Also, there are few topics which are very particular to IIFT GK, and you will be getting dedicated GK ebooks on those topics. For example, country's parliament's name, country's stock exchange name. These are the questions which come only in IIFT. So we will be taking care of these kind of topics also in the upcoming ebooks for you. So what my gist is, when it comes to GK section, please do not refer any yearbook. Please do not refer Manormas. Please do not refer India yearbook. Please do not refer to any UPSC GK website. All those things are not going to help you for IIFT. IIFT is a very business oriented, very international affairs oriented, very much economy oriented GK. And that is where the ebooks which we are providing you, they are going to help you. Yes, we do provide you certain ebooks on history, geography as well, because there are 1 or 2 questions which will come from history and geography. But the ebooks on United Nations, ebook on Indian economy, ebook on union budget, ebook on sports, ebook on countries, parliaments, stock exchanges, they are very important. Over and above the fact sheets which we are providing you. Awards, books and authors, these are some of the important topics. So when it comes to preparation of GK, do not wander, do not go to multiple sites, you will just end up wasting your time. Try to focus on the ebooks which we are providing. How much time to dedicate? Probably for the month of September, you can give it 1 hour on Saturday, 1 hour on Sunday, and half an hour on weekdays, alternate weekdays. So out of 5 weekdays, 2 weekdays, give it half an hour, and then on Saturday and Sunday, give it 1 hour each. The moment you reach October, make 2 hours for GK on a weekend and make it half an hour daily during the weekdays for the GK part. And if you can do that much, you will be able to cover all the ebooks, you will be able to cover all the GK tests, and you will be able to score pretty well in the GK section. And for us, if you ask me, if you are our student of GK course, I will expect you to score 6 to 7 marks at least in this section. So if you can dedicate time in the way I have suggested you for the month of September and for the month of October, you will be able to cover the entire stuff very well and should be able to do good in the GK section. So I'll just take a pause so that you can recollect everything, digest it. So I'm pretty sure you are clear on the exam pattern, you are clear on the important topics part which we have discussed section wise. We have also discussed the cutoff marks during the initial part of the video, the target marks which you should be targeting. So great, I guess we have covered almost everything which you wanted to be covered in this particular session. We have discussed about the topics, we have discussed about the strategy for RC, we have discussed the strategy for DI, we have discussed the strategy for quant part, we have discussed the important topics, that how I cannot avoid studying geometry, how I cannot avoid studying arithmetic, and then how can I use GK to maximize my score. So towards the end, I would just like to leave you all with the target score of 55 to 60. In our mocks, you should be in the range of 50 to 57 to reach to this in the actual exam. The overall exam is going to have around 110 to 130 questions. They keep on varying the number, but percentage wise things remain the same. Cutoffs remain the same, which we have discussed earlier. As a quick recap, quant go for 18%, LR go for 20%, or say in fact 25%. DI you can be at 15%, VARC 20%, and GK 15%. Overall score 45% should be a very safe score for you to have cleared the cutoff, but 55 to 60 is what I want you to clear. That is all which we wanted to discuss here. We have discussed how to prepare for GK, we have discussed what resources to use. Then a lot of you have been asking about how to prepare for IIFT along with CAT. So there is a very good article which we have written on that. I'll be sharing the link of that with you. However, we have discussed in this session the topics which are equally important for CAT and equally important for IIFT, and how you should be focusing a lot on them. Please, something which I say for CAT also, that I'm going to say for IIFT also, please do not over invest time in studying numbers. Numbers is a overhyped topic. Numbers is not a make or a break topic in any exam. Geometry and algebra are your for CAT, which are the make or break topics. Geometry and algebra for CAT. For IIFT, geometry and arithmetic, they are the make or break topics. So please prepare accordingly, please invest your time accordingly, and please do read the instructions before starting off with the exam, that whether the exam has sectional cutoffs or not. It is very important for you to know that the exam has a sectional cutoff or not. And if you are not able to gauge, try to score at least 15% in all the sections as a bottom line. But if there is a mention of a sectional cutoff, please try to maintain these figures of percentage marks which we have mentioned, because no matter what happens, the percentage marks based sectional cutoff is never wrong as per these numbers. So please adhere to them, try to stick to them while you are taking IIFT mocks with us, and let us all crack it together. Feel free to share any doubts which you have from mocks, any doubts which you have on GK preparation, any doubts which you have while studying ebooks, any doubts which you have while solving the tests with us, and we would be more than happy to help you, because we do not want you to just clear the cutoffs. We want you to be in the range of 55 to 60, because I want to see most of you at IIFT Delhi campus and not at Kolkata campus. So and I don't want you to be a lot worried at the time of GDPI that my score is less, I am just at the borderline. So let us try to be at 8 to 10 marks more than the possible cutoff. The possible cutoff for IIFT will be in the range of 38 to 43, and let's be at least 10 marks more than that. So let us target these numbers, let us study for these numbers, let us practice mocks for these numbers, and let us formulate strategies to achieve this goal. And in case you find that your scores are not increasing over say 2 to 4 mocks, please send me a mail that your score is not increasing. I will help you to analyze the IIFT mocks. I will help you to see how you can increase your score. But please do reach out to me to allow me to help you to get to this target. So with this, we'll probably end this session, and I wish all of you good luck for IIFT exam. And yes, I'll be sharing this link in your accounts. Also, I'll be sharing with you the link of the article on how to prepare for IIFT along with that. Thank you everyone. I hope this session was of some use. Thank you.